Well, maybe they'd be interested in buying Dean's place. They live right down the road from where Dean lived on Kokomo. So I contacted Kim and Klaus and met with them, and they said, we would love to buy this place. And Dean set his price. We thought maybe it was a little high, but they said, we will give him what he's asking. So we got the wheels in motion, and she said, oh, by the way, we have a house for sale that we just totally remodeled. Come to find out, it was this place. And this was owned by my uncle Jimmy, my mom's brother, and his wife, Carrie. And we came and looked at it. It was perfect. And myself and all my sisters said, give them what they're asking. They were so generous to give Dean what he was asking. We said, let's just give them what they're asking. And so we did that. So we took out the loan. And the funny thing is that when I went to the bank, they said, this land is not clear. This title is not clear, however that works. There's a lien on it or whatever. Come to find out, it was still listed as Mark. Where does he live? So one of my sisters got me, researched it. I think Dana researched it and got me the phone number for me. And I said, where does your brother Mark live? He said he lives in like Timbuktu in Wisconsin. I don't know if it was.
He lives in Barnes.
Barnes, Wisconsin.
You can tell she's
All the Barnes people are insulted.
I know.
So sorry, Mark.
We won't let that go any further.
So anyway, I kid you not, Dana got me the address. I had no idea if he was, Mark, even his brother Mike didn't have a phone number. I jumped in the car within 15 minutes and I was off to Barnes, Wisconsin. So I put it on MapQuest, showed up at this home, no idea who this person really is. I know Mike, but didn't really know Mark. So, probably wasn't the smartest to go there alone, but I get there and I knock on the door and a guy comes to the door and I said, are you Mark? He says, yeah. And I said, well, I'm Dean Ralph's sister. And he is doing really well. He had a stroke, but we are selling the place on Kokomo, and apparently it's still in your name, and it's still in your name, and we need you to sign off on this because he paid you for it. I said, but the problem is I need it to be notarized. We have time to get to Solon Springs. He says, I'm not going to Solon Springs. I'm tired and I just got home. I said, Mark, he needs this. He needs a place to live. The other one is not a good place for him to live. I said, you need to come to Solon Springs with me and we'll notarize it. He didn't want us, so I said, I'll give you $100. Come to Solon Springs right now. I'll give you $100. So he
Wasn't
I
tired
said, okay.
anymore.
So we get to Solon
He came
Springs. We get to Solon Springs at the bank, and he signs off, and it's notarized. So I go in my wallet, and I only have 96 bucks. I said, Mark, all I got is 96. I'm sorry. I'll have to owe you the rest. No, this was good, So the next day, we went and visited. I don't know if it was the bank, Chippewa Valley, and then we had our nephew Mitchell in on it. He drew up all the papers. And, I just think of God's goodness of how this all unfolded. And I couldn't have done it on my own. You guys couldn't have done it on your own, but God just set the wheels in motion. So then I'm thinking, we need to have furniture and a bed and everything. And Kim and Klaus Snyder were so good to Dean. They said, we've got a spare bed. So they set up a bed. They said, well, we've got a couch too, and we've got this and that, and found this lovely dining room set, on Marketplace for like $300. And they had the new appliances in here, furnished it with the comforter and the sheets and everything. And Dean, when I think about all the people that were in on this, and Dean ended up in the hospital in Fargo. So he was at the Fargo VA, and they were going to discharge him. I'm babysitting 5 grandkids in Superior. He needs to go home. Right away, Chad offered. He says, I got to work at 3 or whatever it was, or 7, but I will go to Fargo and bring him, but I'm going to have to just drop him off at your house because, you know, I'm losing my train
You
of
have to
thought.
get back home.
Because he had to get to work. So he brings Dean to my house. Tom babysat the kids. Dean and I he wanted to go back to Kokomo and just look at it. Do you remember what you did? You jumped out of the car and ran into the field. And this was like night, black now, out on Kokomo Road. I didn't know what was happening. All I know is he just had he had a stroke. He's out in the field looking for something, and I come to find out what he was looking for. Do you remember that, Dean? I'm yelling at you out in the darkness. Dean!
It was
So then we get here, it's late. It's dark, and I have to show Dean not only how to use his new cell phone, show him his new house, so got him tucked in. There were a few other interesting parts to that story, but I'll leave that out. And Dean has been doing so well. So God has just been, I knew that it would be too much for me to be coming back and forth to Iron River to clean the house and that sort of thing. So I was in Sunday school at church back when we were at Central. And I'm in Sunday school, and I just said, I have to ask for prayer. So I just said, would you pray for a housekeeper for my brother? And a woman in our Sunday school that we really didn't know that well, by the name of Teresa, said, oh, I live in Iron River, I'll do it. So Teresa became his housekeeper for a number of years. Then she moved to Alabama, and she said, I got the perfect person for you. And just supplied Dean with exactly what he's need of. I mean, in incredible ways. Dan, I couldn't do this without you. Tom and I don't know how to fix lawnmowers or anything else.
Just so you know, neither does Dan. He has a guy down there. He knows a guy.
He knows a guy who knows a guy.
He knows somebody.
So his newer vacuum cleaner broke, and we looked at it, we couldn't figure it out, so we just went and bought a new one. So he's got a new vacuum as of yesterday. But anyway, it's just been things like that over and over and over. Recently, I just felt like Dan was so willing to do the snow shoveling and the snow plowing, and I just said, Dan, no, you've got enough to do. So I got done bringing Dean home from his VA appointment, and I round the corner, and I see a guy with a snowplow, snow plowing the meat marketplace over there. And I thought, I'm just going to stop and ask.
This is so like Rhonda.
Actually, we were on our way to the VA appointment, and I just said, Dean, just 1 second, I'm going to pull over and talk to this guy. And so I said, hey, do you do this? He says, no, I'm just doing it for my family. They own this business. I said, do you want to do it? He said, sure, I could do it. And so I showed him Dean's place.
He's coming.
He might be coming today to the party. Just met the guy on the site. But he has been faithful. He has come and shoveled, plowed. Mm-hmm. Then the last time he says, it's going to melt. I'm going to shovel. I'm not going to plow and he wouldn't even take money from it. So it's just been that kind of stuff. So I'm grateful to God. I just know that it's too much for one person. So God has put everybody in place.
That's what we can't burn.
So how are we going to put it out, Dean?
We're going to just dump it in there.
Mortgage.
That's the
What I
mortgage
owed the bank
burning.
when I paid for the place.
Careful, just dump it in there maybe, Dean. Just
I don't want any more money to the bank.
put it in there.
Wow.
Okay, now you can do this. Mortgage burning ceremony. Woohoo!
Dean,
what year
did Dean move here? Rhonda, what year did Dean move here?
2018 was when we.
What